look, it's another minister. So last April, someone from your leadership called the Mid-America Region office and asked to have someone come and do a workshop with some of your leadership to talk about the kind of culture and the ways in which you are with one another, and to kind of tease out some of the issues that were going on during your interim period and before. And so Nancy Combs Morgan called me and said, would you like to do this? And I said, okay. I have been a consultant with the Mid-America region for many years, and this sounded like it would be kind of fun. And it was also a possibility that I might get to come to Chicago and see Hamilton. So I came, and I have spent an evening and a morning with a number of folks from this congregation, and during the time that I was here, I sensed a certain sense of unease that was happening, that many of you may or may not even have felt. But the leadership was feeling some stress, and the staff as well, even in April. And so I went back and I thought about you a lot. I had worshiped with you on Sunday morning and found a wonderful energy. I had experienced a lot of kindness in your interactions, and I felt something wonderful here that was a system under stress. And so I wrote a report to the Mid-America region and said, here's what I observe. And I won't go into that now, because indeed it kind of came to a head, and your interim minister, Greg Stewart, found for a variety of reasons that he needed to not continue his interim ministry. Lisa Presley from the Mid-America region called me and said, I read your report. Is there something you can do with them? And I said, well, let me think about it. I said, I'm not moving to Evanston. And she said, okay, just think about it. So I talked to my husband and I said, what would you think about putting together an idea for maybe a little different image of interim ministry? And at that time, Eileen had already agreed that she would do the functions of the ongoing senior ministry. And I said, what if I were to go there for 2 Sundays, so a 10-day period every month, and just do the work of the interim? What if I would do that in 10 days a month? And my husband rolled his eyes and said, you really love doing this work, don't you? And I said, I do, and I think this is a congregation with such promise. And so I made a proposal and I sent it, and your board said, okay, and here I am. So, as I've said to many of the groups that I've met with so far, I had this moment of feeling like a St. Bernard chasing a school bus that I just had caught. And so I thought, what do we need to do between now and then to make this work? So the first thing I said was, there needs to be a partnership in this ministry that is clear to this congregation. Y'all need to feel safe. Y'all need to be held during this time. And the only way we can do that is to make sure that Eileen and I come to you on the same page. And I was pretty sure, just from probably 2 12-minute conversations with Eileen when I was here, that that might be really possible. And we had talked on the phone, and I said, you need to come to Minnesota, and you need to spend 3 days with me, and we need to get this hammered out. And we did.
So I went. And it was a wonderful and restorative and amazing space. Karen has this retreat loft above the garage that makes you feel like you're sleeping in a tree house. And that was really neat. And we spent 3 days just talking and getting to know each other and thinking about all of you and thinking about how best we could serve you this year together. And we sat in that loft and we talked and we wrote and we planned. And then we moved down to the dining room table and we'd cook and we ate and we walked. And then we sat at the dining room table, and Karen and John had this beautiful picture window that they let their guests have the best view of when they're sitting at the dining room table. And I sat there the whole time, and we'd talk and we'd get really into a thing, and then I'd go, oh, look at that bird. Oh. And one of the things that was really incredible was they have these 2 sugar water hummingbird feeders on either side of this huge picture window. And as we were sitting and talking, I kept getting distracted by, there was a emerald hummingbird and a red-throated hummingbird. And I didn't know this about hummingbirds, but they are incredibly territorial. So one would fly to the feeder, and then another one would come, and the first one would chase the other one off. And this little dance went on so that neither one of them got any of the water, and they didn't go to the other one. And it was such a sort of lovely and comical illustration of how not to do this. So, it reminded us of how much is possible when we have a sense of abundance and a sense of shared purpose and meaning together. And that is, I think, the thing that we are holding most lovingly in our work together, is this cultivating within all of us this sense of shared purpose, that we are in, this is a shared ministry, not just between Karen and I, but with all of you, every single one of you with us.
So a little bit about my experience of that time, the place where my sweet old someone and I live, and from whence I come here for 10 days a month, is set in this loft over, is set in a leftover lot that was offered to a ne'er-do-well nephew of the property owner who owns most of the small village that we live in. It's hundreds of undeveloped woods near the shores of Lake Superior, and in its natural state, it holds absolutely everything offered by the north central boundary area of our wonderful country. And I happily drove the North Shore Highway into Duluth for the last 10 years of my ministry, my 21-year ministry of the congregation in Duluth, Minnesota. And then we rented that space for 6 years while I served the congregation in Madison, Wisconsin. And we returned there in 2013 and set about to create a retreat space above the garage that Eileen has referred to, where since 2016 I have offered life review retreats for people in transition. And so the opportunity to work with you all offers kind of a different kind of life review. And today I welcome this opportunity to take on a different kind of transition. What I knew in my bones when I entertained this possibility was that every aspect of this experience needed to be nurtured in partnership. A process of joining the big picture that I bring with the particular that is here, of melding your experience of the past and your vision of the future into a new and inviting wholeness that will attract the minister that you need for the next part of your journey. You are the holders of your own stories. I have been invited here to help you find and join the threads of those individual stories in a way that will help you to move forward in confidence. And so central to this picture, of course, is my relationship with Eileen, who had agreed to be my partner. She is a woman, this minister, this colleague in the making. I was clear that we needed this time together. And I have heard it say that all the planning in the world will never take the place of dumb luck. And I can only say that my enormous sense of good fortune at having this be the particular person who has been invited to share this partnership with me is a stroke of, I suppose we could say, no, I won't say divine intervention, I don't think so. And so for those 3 days, I basked in our shared energy and vision as we walked and cooked and ate and laughed. We laughed a lot. And the words and ideas tumbled from us and formed the bond of trust that we bring to this time and place. Hear now the words of our shared covenant. Eileen, as your colleague in ministry, I promise to honor and respect your history with this congregation and to take seriously my responsibility to communicate clearly and regularly with you. With you and the staff and the congregation, my observations and my recommendations. I will attend to the tasks of interim ministry as you attend to the ongoing ministry of the congregation. I promise to stay in conversation with you as we address the complex and somehow sometimes difficult conversations that lie ahead.
As the acting senior minister, I promise my support of your interim ministry to honor and utilize your breadth of experience and wisdom. I promise to clearly, honestly, and kindly communicate in ways that are helpful in this process. I promise to hold the well-being of the congregation in balance and in covenant with your well-being and with my own.
We promise
to remain clear about our individual and shared responsibilities. We promise to be honest and respectful as we listen to your thoughts, ideas, and feelings. We promise to communicate as fully as we are able. We promise to foster collaborative, courageous, honest, and productive conversation between us and among all of you. We promise to hold these in company with our commitment to the larger movement of Unitarian Universalism, and we promise to engage in this work with lightness of touch and a spirit of joyful service.